Hey everybody, what's going on? During the last year and a half, I've been spending a fair amount of time at home playing on the driving simulator rig, and I've been using the PC and playing Assetto Corsa for a large portion of that time. I've been really getting into some of the open world maps like LA Canyons and the Pacific Coast Highway. So, Forza Horizon 5 has just come out for PC and Xbox. So today, we're going to give it a go and see how it is.
For those of you not familiar with the Forza Horizon series, it's an open-world driving game with a large world map centering around a fictional Horizon festival. For Horizon 5, the festival is set in Mexico. You're given a limited number of driving events to begin with, but as you progress through those first few events, you'll start to unlock more and more events. At least early on in the game, you will have to drive across the map in order to reach the various events. Naturally, one of the first cars I bought was a BRZ. Of course, there are far faster cars available, and you'll probably want to upgrade to something more exotic fairly quickly. After a few races, you'll have earned enough to start buying some nice rides. Or you can earn wheel spins, which are like a random slot machine pull that might award you cars, among other things. You might also win a different car horn, a dance move for your avatar, or a new outfit, like a racing suit or a dress. If you're into customizing your avatar, there are several different male and female types to choose from. And if you want to make some bold fashion choices, they have that too. They even have prosthetic arms and legs if you want to try those. I thought it was kind of cool in a cyberpunk kind of way to have one blue synthetic looking arm that you'd always see on the steering wheel while driving. I was a little bit disappointed that you only have two voices to choose from, and they both sound like they're British or Australian. I'm not sure I can tell the difference, so apologies if I got that wrong. In terms of car selection, there are over 500 cars to choose from. Many popular cars, and even a few pretty obscure or unique cars are included. But I am disappointed that some of the newest cars coming out are not available, like the GR86, the BRZ, and the Nissan Z. Maybe they'll add them later as DLC. Also, they have the first generation AW11 MR2, but not the second or third generation MR2. What's up with that? Forza Horizon 4 at least had the SW20. Once you have a car in your garage, you can also buy a multitude of upgrades for it. I won't go into every single possible upgrade here, but I'll give you some tips later on about what I think are the best bang for the buck mods for a car if you're trying to get it competitive for a race event. And of course, you can paint the car any color you want, or even dress it up with a creative livery. For those of you who have played the prior Forza Horizon games, you're probably wondering, is there anything new since Forza Horizon 4? Well, to me, it feels like they've stuck to the same formula, with a change of scenery from the more toned-down visuals of the UK to a more vibrant and tropical Mexico. There's the usual corny storyline, dialogue, and flashy stunts with a little bit of cultural appropriation. You're some sort of competitive racer who they give the full VIP welcome. They roll out the red carpet and throw you the keys to 3 brand new and modified cars right off the bat and tell you to go race them. Isn't that the fantasy of every teenager who's ever watched Fast and Furious? It definitely feels a lot like Fast and Furious with how over the top it is. But I guess I'm willing to overlook that for the sake of the gameplay. So how is the gameplay? It's largely the same as the prior Horizon games. A large open world with a wide variety of tasks and challenges. It can be too overwhelming. There are so many different things to do. From traditional races to stunt jumps to exploration and photo challenges, there is something for everyone, as they say. I guess the key is to focus on what you want to do. For me, I'm less of a fan of the dirt and off-road racing and more into the circuit and street racing events. But when you are trying to complete season events to earn rare prize cars, it can be frustrating to have to succeed at events that you might not enjoy doing, like a drifting event or a speed trap challenge. I guess it is meant to show you the variety of events in the game and make you try a little bit of everything. So I suck it up and try to complete these seasonal challenges. You also have a very limited amount of time to get these done, about a week per season, after which those events are no longer available, and any rewards like prize cars or special items might not be available to you ever again. So if you're the kind of guy or gal who has to win every event and claim every prize, it becomes a frantic dash through each season, trying to find the right car and tuning setup that will help you win each event. Sometimes that takes multiple tries, and I don't know about you, but I've got other games to play and other things in life that I need to attend to. So the time I have to play this game is finite, and it just feels like the seasonal challenges are there as artificially created deadlines that push you to complete them at the expense of everything else. It's like a demanding and jealous girlfriend who wants you to spend all your time with her, leaving you no room to breathe. If you are willing to commit, it might be a rewarding experience for you. But for me, I'm getting crazy chick vibes and I'm starting to back away. What I mean is, the game can be fun, but if you get caught up in trying to complete all the challenges within the seasons, it will monopolize all your time. I don't want to play like that. With games like Forza Motorsport or Gran Turismo, you play on your own timetable and make progress whenever you can. If you get busy with life and don't play for 3 months, you can come back, and the race events and challenges will still be there waiting for you. I like to play at a more relaxed pace, and I don't want my gaming, which is supposed to be fun and relaxing, to be a stressful and frustrating experience. Speaking of frustrating, when the game first came out, players noticed a number of bugs and issues. Some of them have been fixed by a patch released a few days ago, but some problems remain. The graphics in the game are generally very good. The cars look wonderful, and the landscape is gorgeous. The graphics do occasionally get a little glitchy, like you see here with the sand, or with the reflections from wet surfaces. On the Xbox One X, the draw distance is not as good as on PC, and so items will pop in as you approach them. Rewind is an important part of what differentiates Forza from other games. The ability to rewind when you make a mistake is key to avoiding frustration and makes Forza more approachable to casual gamers than other racing games. In other more realistic driving games or sims, there is no rewind, and you are forced to live with those mistakes, sometimes ruining a whole race or event if you mess up badly. The rewind lets you back up and fix that mistake without having to redo an entire race. Well, on the Xbox, the rewind function wasn't working properly, and this was super annoying. The force feedback when playing on the Fanatec CSL Elite steering wheel seems to be buggy as well. You'll start the game and the force feedback is not working at all, or feels extremely weak. I searched online, and the workaround currently seems to be to unplug your wheel's USB cable from the Xbox while the game is running, and plug it right back in. This gets the wheel force feedback to start working again. Compared to the PC version of the game, the force feedback feels much weaker on the Xbox though.
There's a skill song on, so I'm going to try and do some near misses. Those aren't near misses, those are terrible. So the force feedback on this game is not great, I have to say. It's definitely better in Forza Motorsport 7. I think it just feels a little more arcadey here in Horizon. So it's a little hard to control the car, I think, because you're not getting as much feedback from the steering.
The game on Xbox is large, about 100 gigabytes, and takes a long time to load. Perhaps it's because my Xbox One X is showing its age. The game being 4K and all probably is meant for a higher-end Xbox Series X. The PC game isn't without flaws either. It feels like it is even slower to load than the Xbox version, and unfortunately seems to crash occasionally for no reason at all. It's frustrating when you're racing and it crashes, because the load time is so long to recover from that. Hopefully, the new patch improves the stability of the game on PC. What you're watching right here is the actual loading screen that's been running while I wait for the game to load. And it's still going. Well, while we wait for it to load, we might as well talk about some other issues with the game. One of the biggest issues I have is with gameplay and race difficulty. The Teotihuacan Scramble is one of the first race series that I tried to do, and it was one of the seasonal challenges for Series 1. You start out with a Supra A90, which seems to be the perfect car for the event. The race is for modern sports cars, but then it turns out to be nearly impossible to win with this car, even after modifying the car to max out the Forza Performance Index points to 800, which is the max for that event.
Laps, this could be tough. Oh, I'm way behind. Oh yeah, dead last. Well, that was terrible.
Reddit users suggested trying a different car with a specific tune. I ended up buying the recommended RX-8 and tuning it with about 90,000 credits worth of mods to make it super fast and virtually unbeatable in the 800-point class. The AI adjusted for the RX-8 and it was much easier to catch and beat the AI cars. I read that the Audi TT-RS is another car that can be competitive for this event, but I think it comes down to poor balancing or event design. The A90, especially in tuned form, shouldn't be so hard to win with. The tuning seems to be arbitrarily prejudiced against cars like the Supra. So I don't know, maybe that's part of the game, that you have to pick the right car for these events. And maybe it's supposed to be tough to figure out what works and what doesn't. But a lot of other players seem to think the game is broken when what are supposed to be equivalent cars in this class are not competitive at all. Alright, because you've stuck around so long with me, let me tell you about a few tips that I have for you that will help you come out a winner in this game. My first tip for you is Always try to buy your cars at auction. If you need a new car for a racing event, always try to snag one at the auction house instead of buying a new car. You can always look to see what the racing requirements are for an event before you participate in it, and figure out what cars fall into that class by applying the filter. So like if you need a classic sports car, you can put that filter on in the auction, or go to the auto show and shop around there first. Look at the new price of a car in the auto show, and then go to the auction house to shop that same car. Chances are you will find a pristine, unmodified version of the car with 0 miles on them, available for way, way less credits. You will have to work at bidding on cars, and you might not always get the car you want right away, but keep at it, and you will be able to save a ton of credits that way. You can even find cars that are already modified, and that will likely save you some credits as well, rather than having to spend your hard-earned credits upgrading a car to max it out to a certain spec before racing. If you try an event and your car doesn't seem to be good enough to help you win the race, you probably need to buy some upgrades on the car. If you're out on the map somewhere, you can't seem to buy these upgrades there. You have to go back to either your home or the Horizon headquarters. It can be tedious to drive all the way back there, so just go into the game menu and choose to fast travel to either location. Depending on where the event is you're trying to beat, I'd pick the closer location to fast travel to, as you'll have to drive your way back to the event after you do your upgrades. My advice, if you just need a tiny bit better edge in carrying more speed through the turns, your best bet is to upgrade the tires. Buy racing slicks if you're going to race on paved roads, or dirt tires if you're going off-road. But if it's a race that has both paved and off-road sections, then get the rally tires as a good compromise. Any of these tire choices will be better than the stock tires that the car comes with. And of course, if your car doesn't seem to be fast enough to catch and beat the other cars, then you need more power and have to buy some engine mods to increase the power. There are a lot of different mods that can get expensive and barely add any power. So the best bang for your buck upgrade is most likely going to be to add a turbo, or if your car already has one, then upgrade the turbo. You should of course pay close attention to what the race event's requirements are, and make sure that you don't exceed the max requirements set. Like if you need to stay under 800 performance points, or remain in a certain performance class. And if you're not sure what mods to go for, you can always choose the auto upgrade option, and the game will help you out. Or you can check out other players' tuning setups. Most other driving or racing sims, I immediately turn off all the nannies or driving assists. I turn off stability control, traction control, switch the automatic transmission to manual, steering mode to simulation, and turn off the driving line assistance for maximum realism. But for Forza Horizon, I would suggest that you leave some of this stuff on, at least when you first start out. Because this isn't the racetrack, it's much more of a street driving sim, and you're dealing with traffic and all kinds of unknowns. I would argue that, like in real life, you want to have some safety features left on to save your butt when you make a mistake or encounter something unexpected. Of course, you have the rewind feature if you really screw up, but because this is more of an arcadey kind of game, I'd say it's okay not to have it on maximum realism all the time. Sure, play around with the settings and see what feels right to you. But at a minimum, I would say leave the braking line turned on, because with a world map this large, you're not going to know every single road and curve, and so the braking line, along with the navigation, is going to be essential to guide you around. Now, I've spent a decent amount of money on my Fanatec steering wheel setup, and of course, it brings a higher level of realism to the driving or racing sims I play. But Forza Horizon 5 is arguably not much of a sim. It is much more of an arcadish kind of racing game. with the wild jumps, drifts, and various stunts that you will be doing on a regular basis in this game, I have to say that using a steering wheel and pedals makes the game far more challenging. A controller will allow you to quickly change steering angle and apply inputs far quicker and with less resistance than a force feedback wheel, and that's going to give you an advantage in races. That was true in Forza Horizon 4, and it's no different here. I haven't even really tried playing any online multiplayer matches in Horizon 5, but I would imagine, based on my experience in 4, that it's the same. If you try to play with a wheel and pedals, it is going to be far harder to win races. So, what is my impression of Forza Horizon 5? I think it's a large-scale game with plenty of thrills, ambition, and adventure, but unfortunately, the execution has fallen a little short due to buggy and unbalanced gameplay. I do think these issues will get resolved over time, but for now, it seems to be a bit frustrating to play the game at times. It's still great fun if you want to be a casual explorer. You can just wander the map and do whatever you want. But if you're a completionist and trying to grind through every festival event of every season to earn the maximum number of points and collect all the cars, it's going to be a sweaty and painful process because they don't give you a whole lot of time to complete each season. That, to me, takes away some of the enjoyment of the game. But maybe you might feel differently. If you've had a chance to play Forza Horizon 5, let me know in the comments below how you feel about the game.
Well, that's my first look at Forza Horizon 5. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're enjoying the game as well. And if you have any tips or advice for me, let me know in the comments below. Alright, thanks for watching. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, take care.